Eastern Congo is once again embroiled in conflict. The M23 rebel group has launched a new offensive. This has resulted in widespread displacement and a dire humanitarian situation. The city of Goma, a strategic hub, has been particularly hard hit. Goma, a bustling city just miles from the Rwandan border, is now a ghost town. The M23 offensive has forced hundreds of thousands to flee their homes. The streets are eerily deserted. The silence is broken only by the sound of gunfire and the cries of those who have lost everything. The humanitarian situation is critical. Aid agencies are struggling to cope with the influx of displaced people. Food, water, and medical supplies are running dangerously low. The international community must act now to prevent a humanitarian catastrophe. The Congolese people have taken to the streets to demand action. In Pretoria, South Africa, and Brussels, Belgium, thousands have marched on EU offices. They are calling for sanctions against Rwanda for its alleged support of the M23 rebels. The protesters accuse the EU of turning a blind eye to Rwanda's actions. They argue that the EU's economic interests in Rwanda are trumping human rights concerns. They are demanding that the EU use its leverage to pressure Rwanda to end its support for the M23. At the heart of the controversy is a minerals deal signed between the EU and Rwanda in 2024. The deal allows Rwanda to export minerals to the EU. The protesters argue that this deal is indirectly funding the conflict in Congo. They point out that many of the minerals exported from Rwanda originate in Congo. They accuse Rwanda of profiting from the conflict by smuggling minerals out of Congo and selling them on the international market. The EU, they say, is complicit in this trade. Section 5. The rich resources fueling conflict. Eastern Congo is rich in natural resources. Gold, diamonds, coltan, and other valuable minerals are abundant in the region. However, these resources have also been a curse. They have fueled conflict and instability for decades. Armed groups, both Congolese and foreign, are vying for control of these lucrative mines. They use the profits from the mineral trade to buy weapons and fund their operations. Civilians are often caught in the crossfire, subjected to violence, displacement, and exploitation. Section 6. Trading accusations, Rwanda's stance. Rwanda vehemently denies any involvement in the conflict. The Rwandan government has consistently maintained that it has no interest in destabilizing the region. Instead, it argues that its actions are purely defensive and aimed at protecting its own borders and citizens. It accuses the Congolese government of supporting the FDLR, a Rwandan Hutu rebel group operating in eastern Congo. The FDLR, according to Rwanda, has been responsible for numerous attacks on Rwandan soil, causing significant loss of life and property. Rwanda considers the FDLR a threat to its national security. The group, which consists of remnants of those responsible for the 1994 genocide, is seen as a direct and ongoing threat. Rwanda argues that it has a right to defend itself against such threats. Rwanda maintains that its presence in Congo is solely for the purpose of pursuing the FDLR. It claims that its military operations are targeted and precise, aimed only at neutralizing the rebel group and ensuring the safety of its own citizens. It accuses the international community of bias and of ignoring the Congolese government's support for the FDLR. Rwanda feels that the international narrative often unfairly portrays it as the aggressor, while overlooking the provocations and support that the FDLR receives from within Congo. It calls for a negotiated solution to the conflict that addresses the concerns of all parties. Rwanda emphasizes the need for a comprehensive peace process that not only addresses the immediate security concerns, but also tackles the root causes of the conflict, ensuring long-term stability in the region. Section 7. The role of the international community. The international community plays a crucial role in addressing global crises, and its involvement in the situation in eastern Congo is no exception. The international community has been slow to respond to the crisis in eastern Congo. Despite numerous reports and calls for action, the response has been inadequate, leaving millions of people in dire conditions. The humanitarian crisis in the region is one of the most severe in the world, with countless families displaced and living in precarious situations. The lack of timely intervention has exacerbated the suffering of the Congolese people, who continue to face violence, hunger and disease on a daily basis. The UN peacekeeping mission in Congo, MONUSCO, has been criticized for its ineffectiveness in protecting civilians. Despite being one of the largest and most expensive UN missions, MONUSCO has struggled to maintain peace and security in the region. The mission has faced numerous challenges, including limited resources, logistical difficulties, and a complex and volatile security environment. Critics argue that MONUSCO has failed to adequately protect civilians from armed groups and has not been able to prevent the widespread human rights abuses that continue to plague the region. The UN Security Council has imposed sanctions on individuals from various armed groups, but these measures have had little impact. Sanctions are intended to pressure those responsible for violence and instability to change their behavior, but in the case of Eastern Congo, they have often been circumvented or ignored. The effectiveness of sanctions is further undermined by the lack of enforcement and the ability of sanctioned individuals to continue their activities through illicit networks. As a result, the intended deterrent effect of sanctions has not been realized, and the cycle of violence and exploitation continues. The EU, as a major trading partner of both Rwanda and Congo, has a responsibility to use its influence to promote peace and stability. The economic ties between the EU and these countries provide a unique opportunity for the EU to leverage its position to encourage positive change. By promoting fair trade practices, supporting development initiatives, and advocating for good governance, the EU can play a pivotal role in addressing the root causes of the conflict. Additionally, the EU can use its diplomatic channels to facilitate dialogue and cooperation between the parties involved, helping to build a sustainable and lasting peace in the region. The protesters are right to demand that the EU take concrete steps to address the root causes of the conflict, including the illegal exploitation of Congo's mineral resources. Activists and concerned citizens have been vocal in their calls for greater accountability and action from the international community. They highlight the need for comprehensive strategies that address not only the immediate humanitarian needs, but also the underlying economic and political factors driving the conflict. By supporting local communities, promoting transparency in the mining sector, and ensuring that the benefits of resource extraction are shared equitably, the international community can help create a more just and stable future for the people of Congo. Section 8. The need for a lasting solution. The conflict in Eastern Congo is complex and deeply rooted. There are no easy solutions. A lasting peace will require a multifaceted approach that addresses the underlying political, economic, and social grievances that fuel the conflict. This will involve dialogue and reconciliation among the various armed groups, as well as between the governments of Congo and Rwanda. It will also require international support for economic development and good governance in Eastern Congo. Section 9. Looking ahead, uncertainty and hope. The situation in Eastern Congo remains volatile. The region has been a hotspot of conflict for many years, with various armed groups vying for control. The local population lives in constant fear, unsure of what tomorrow might bring. The instability has disrupted daily life, making it difficult for families to find safety and security. The M23 offensive has brought renewed suffering to a region already ravaged by decades of conflict. Homes have been destroyed, and countless people have been forced to flee, seeking refuge wherever they can find it. The humanitarian crisis is deepening, with shortages of food, water and medical supplies becoming more severe by the day. The international community must act decisively to alleviate the humanitarian crisis and to prevent further bloodshed. Aid organizations are working tirelessly to provide relief, but they need more support. Diplomatic efforts are crucial to bring about a lasting peace, and the world must not turn a blind eye to the suffering in Eastern Congo. Yet, amidst the despair, there is also hope. The spirit of the Congolese people remains unbroken. Children still find moments of joy, and communities come together to support one another. These glimpses of happiness are a testament to the resilience and strength of the human spirit. The Congolese people have shown remarkable resilience in the face of adversity. They are rebuilding their homes, tending to their fields, and striving to create a better future for their children. Their determination is inspiring. and it serves as a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope can prevail. They are demanding peace and justice. The voices of the Congolese people are growing louder, calling for an end to the violence and for a future where they can live in peace and dignity. Community leaders are stepping up, advocating for their people and working towards reconciliation and healing. The international community must listen to their voices and work with them to build a better future for Eastern Congo. Collaborative efforts are essential to address the root causes of the conflict and to support sustainable development. By standing together, we can help bring about a brighter, more hopeful future for the people of Eastern Congo.